So one of the things I like about your work, besides the fact that you're good at your job, is that
Hmm.
I feel like if I told someone, "Hey, Michael Shannon's got a new role," there's a 0% chance they can guess what it is.
That's funny. I
And I
like that.
Yeah, and I think people appreciate that. Like listen, I understand why someone takes a role in a giant movie. It pays well, it's easy, like it can be easy. Like there's good reasons to do it. We want you guys to have nice houses. But there's something
Right.
about, when you're like, "Oh my God, I've never seen this movie or I've never seen this performance or I've never seen this type of performance." And you are kind of the king of that of I never would have thought this role would be done this way, but I like it. And
Yeah. Oh, that's a really sweet thing to say. Thank you.
oh, you're welcome. I think that
Yeah.
it goes to your taste, I think. I think when you get a script, I think you're looking at things maybe differently than a lot of people are.
Well, I've done a lot of projects uh, that I've had to kind of be coaxed into a little bit.
Sure.
That I've had trepidation about. Like
Yeah.
I was not when Jessica called me about doing George and Tammy. She had to convince me a little bit, just
Yeah.
because, not because I was incredibly excited to work with her again, but I just I looked at George Jones and I looked at myself and I thought, there's kind of a formidable difference here. But but yeah, same thing like when I played Elvis or whatever other parts. Particularly when you're playing real people. I have a lot of respect for that. I don't want to insert myself somewhere I don't belong, but I don't know. I this what people tell me time and time again when I say things like that is it doesn't really matter, if you're the spitting image of this person. It's more important to try and tell their story, try
Yeah.
and understand their point of view.
Yeah. And I think I think you do that really well. And I think it is why people connect with it. I think if you look like the person, oddly, it's harder to do it well because if you don't do it perfectly, then you're like, oh, he's doing an imitation. She's doing an imitation. It's
Right.
mimicry. But if you don't look like
Right.
them, if you just look completely different like yourself and you're good, then people go, yeah, no, I stopped remembering it was Michael. I just started watching George. I just started watching Elvis. And there's, like you said, having respect for the person while still doing your job is maybe oddly creatively freeing because like as long as I don't feel like I'm violating this sort of unspoken trust, I can kind of go in whatever
Yeah.
direction I feel is right because I feel like I'm still honoring the person.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a very eloquent way of putting it. I
I,
mean,
I
yeah,
was
you,
I was due for one.
your touchstone has to be honoring the person, particularly if you're playing someone who's no longer with us. You
Yeah.
really have to be um, an advocate for that person, and their legacy, and you know, I, with George, there's a lot of people that kind of remember him for, let's say, perhaps his more negative attributes, or
Yeah.
and I didn't want to, I didn't want to do that, you know.
No. Because you're like, it's there. I don't have to add more to that. It's there. What I can do is find the stuff that maybe you don't know about, the stuff that interests you. Because, at the
Right.
end of the day, if you don't like the job you did or you don't like the role you had, like this is supposed to be a fun job. Like, there's way worse things you could be doing.
Right, right, right. That's true. That's very true.
I think that's a consistent with your work is I think whether it's heavy work, whether it's going big, whether it's very reserved, there is a sense of play of like, oh, okay, I'm at work, but this is fun. Like there's something fun about being someone else. There's something funny about making people feel things. And I think that's why people gravitate to your work.
Well, I think that impulse comes from my history in the theater.
Yeah.
When you do a lot of theater, and I like to do all different kinds of theater, but I particularly like doing kind of far out
Yeah.
experimental type stuff, and that really Yeah, that's really playful work. So yeah, that probably carries over into
Yeah.
what I on the camera side.
And
Yeah.
I mean, if it works or not when you're looking at people. If they're
Yeah.
yawning, you start to see the light of a phone. You're like, okay, that's not working. You gotta
Yeah.
there's tools to take here. It's you have hopefully a director who will be honest with you. You have there are ways to still know if it's working, but it's a lot of trusting your instincts. And I think that's even at the script stage, because I imagine you say no more than you say yes, just by virtue of a lot of things you get sent are probably things you've done already. That's the dirty secret about Hollywood. They see you do something and want you to do it again.
Yeah. Wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and some stuff, frankly, probably I don't even doesn't even make it to my doorstep.
Yeah.
A lot
Like,
of filters along the way.
yeah.
A lot of people somehow manage to reach me directly.
Yeah.
I guess because I'm not probably the most extraordinarily private person, or I'm not overly concerned with my privacy. But so that can be awkward sometimes. But yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I don't think I'm exposing any deep secrets here. There's a lot of silly stuff that gets made that just
Yeah.
kind of is just more noise in the world. Yeah.
Exactly. You have the especially at this point in your career where you have the ability to be like, listen, I can say no and not have to worry about paying rent. So I can already move those aside. The ones that like back there was a time where I'm sure you would be like, that's great because I can eat. So I want that.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
yeah,
And
please
you
give me.
try not to lose sight of that no matter what happens. And you don't know because like now we got this strike going on, and
Yeah.
I'm suddenly kind of looking around thinking, whoa, maybe I hope. How much do I got in the bank? What's going
Yeah.
on? You know,
You're you're like,
you,
how big? How big is the Flash going to be? It's going to be big,
yeah,
right? But no, it's true. It's like if you can be at a point where you don't have to just take a job, that's
yeah,
one thing. And then if you're at a point where you can choose between jobs that are interesting, you're like, that's the thing. That's the goal. When you're like, okay, I have three things I really want to do, and I can only do one. Like that's how you know in a weird way, I think that an actor's made it when you have to say no to things you like.
yeah. That's true. I had a situation like that last fall actually, where there was just too much going on at the same time, and I
Yeah.
had to let go of something. But then at the time, you get all stressed out about it, and then a few months later, you realize it wasn't that
Yeah.
big a deal.
Well, I mean, it's such a good thing to be like, oh, I have these filmmakers who want to consistently work with me. Oh, what a terrible thing. Oh, Jessica Chastain calls me to work with her again. Oh my God, I gotta go to sleep. This is too much. Like there's a way to like, as long as you can be out of your head about it, be like, this is great. Like what's not to like? And then, to exercise new muscles. Like here, being able to sing. And obviously it's presented in a way that, if you were not up to the task, they could work with it. But like there's something just joyful about watching an actor sing.
Yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed doing it. I mean, and I just finished doing. I was shooting a movie called The End, which is
Mhm.
also a musical. So I got to do even more singing. So maybe I don't know. Maybe that would be part of my deal from now on.
I mean,
I got to have a musical number.
yeah,
You know.
listen, some people's writer is like, I need a Pepsi in there. It's like, no, I just need one musical number. It's okay. It won't cost you anything. It's fine. Like, there's something I think when you can watch an actor do that, because I think even no matter what, there's that moment of like, am I being silly? Like, is this silly? Like, you can't help it. Like, I've got a suit on, I've got this on, I'm wearing clothes I never wear, I'm doing a thing I've never done. As long as you get past that, then you're in.
Yeah.
And with singing, we mostly don't sing loudly in front of other people on a day-to-day basis.
Well, and particularly, when you're singing on a set like we were, they want to get the sound of your voice clean. So you're singing a cappella.
Yeah.
Like you get to hear the guide track in your ear, but all anyone else around you is hearing is your voice.
Yeah. So you better be able to do that and not start looking around and be like, is this how does this sound? Like you gotta just like it's like you record an album every day you shoot.
Yeah, yeah, basically. Yeah, but I just loved it. I was scared. Jess and I were both scared going into it, but after a couple of numbers, we just had a blast. Yeah.
Well, I mean, how often do you get to, if you look at it in a certain way, it's okay, this is a big prestige show, like there's expectations, there's money behind it, but it's two theater kids who get to do the roles. Like it's what's more fun than that? Because like we were saying, like that's it's a thing years ago you wouldn't have even comprehended of like, oh, this is a thing in my future.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, and it's happening on camera before. It's like I haven't done a musical on stage,
Yeah.
but maybe that's next. I don't know. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, just skipped around a little bit in the order. That's still cool. Like
Yeah.
it, well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, it's hard. I always like to ask people as we wrap up, like, if somebody was just like, you can do anything you want, what would you want to do? And it's sometimes is like a puzzling thing because you don't really think that way because there's so many steps to get it there. Though directors always say musical, westerns. They always want to make a western. But I guess for
Huh.
you, music, it's a stage musical, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've been kind of involved with a couple of workshops of this musical adaptation of The Hustler,
Nice.
and I'm quite fond of. I'm hoping it'll come to fruition at some point.
Well, I mean,
Um,
that's yeah, there's so much that's out of your control that you just as long as you're doing a good job on set, that's kind of what you can control and
yeah.
surround yourself with the best people. And it's a general rule, you really do that. Like it's rare that you're like, well, Shannon's in this, but everyone else, like, oh no, like I gotta sit through that. It's always like, okay, it's Werner Herzog. All right, this is not gonna be a boring movie. Like there is that sense of doing something new and experimenting and like I said earlier, I don't know what you're necessarily looking for, but I know that you clearly found something. You read that script and went, yeah, shit, I want to do that. All right.
Well, but like you were saying about Werner, a lot of times it's the people. It's like somebody I'm excited to work with
Yeah.
a director or an actor. I mean, the material's got to be have some. It can't be total garbage, but a lot of times it's the people that really draw me in.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not enjoying your job, how do you
Yeah,
expect the audience to? Like that seems way harder.
yeah,
Like as opposed to you just having a good time and if they don't respond, they don't respond. As opposed to like, I'm not having a good time, maybe they'll respond.
yeah. People don't want to just sit around and watch other people be miserable.
Yeah, no, we did that for a couple of years. Like we're over that. Like that
Yeah,
happened already. Um that I this has been really fun just because like I said there's something very compelling about watching you work that I don't know that I see like the wheels turning, but you see an actor like doing it. And that's something that's really easy to appreciate. So even with this being such a different role, it's still very and in a way it's just more of you. Like you get to appreciate it for a longer period of time. So
yeah.
it's incredibly pleasurable to watch you do your thing. So I just in case no
Oh,
one's told you that a while, it is fun to watch you act.
thank you. Thank you very much, Joey. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So congratulations again on this and thank you for doing this. I look forward to more. My joke was when we set this up a couple weeks ago, watch, it's gonna be the night I see the Flash to be like, by the way, I'm seeing your new movie. And you're like, I haven't seen it. Tell me how it is. Uh, but congrats in advance on that one. Like it's kind of cool that people get to watch you on TV and then see you in a big movie and probably look up something else and then they're like, what's my son? My son, what have you done? And they get a whole other thing.
Yeah, right. It's like pinball. Boop, boop,
Which
boop, boop.
who doesn't want to be able to do that though? To be like, I like an actor, let's see what they're doing. Wow, this is way different. Wow, this is way there's just I don't know. That's my favorite type of thing when you just don't know what's next.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much for doing this again.
My pleasure.
Awesome.